All right, guys. I'll just give you guys some injuries updates for where we're at. We're hoping to get a number of guys back this week. It's not 100% for sure, but the guys we're hoping to get: Beal back, Kalia Davis back, Danny Gray, Greenlaw, Drake, and Elijah. We'll see how it goes. George will be another week, hoping to get him the following week. And the guys we don't expect back this preseason, but hopefully for week one, are George Odom, Ray McLeod, and Oren Burks, who I don't think you guys know about. Oren had a PCL sprain on that play that him and Devontae Adams collided on Friday. So that's it for the injuries. Go ahead, guys.
Kyle, what was Danny Gray's injury, and is it a bright spot of the week that you didn't lose anybody in yesterday's game?
Yes, it was a very bright spot of the week. That was usually the number one goal in those preseason games. So, yeah, we didn't lose anybody in that game. Danny, he had a tight abductor and hip before we went to the Raiders and only got tighter while we were there. And he wasn't ready to go yesterday, so he couldn't go.
Kyle, you kind of mentioned that this week would be the week that Brock has the third day off restriction removed. Is that indeed going to be the case?
Yes. Yeah, that's off, so he'll get to go the 3 practices in a row this week.
Kyle, with Ray, you indicated last week that you thought it would be 8 weeks, so is this some welcome news that it could possibly be week 1?
I mean, nothing's changed on that. We just have him in that same category, but I do think he's a little worse odds than the other 2 guys.
Kyle, after looking at the tape, what did you see good and things that can be worked on by Trey Lance?
I thought he played a lot better as it ended. You know, he came out, the first play was tough. The corner just keyed his 3-step drop and sat on it and did the right thing. He reset to go to the tight end over the ball, but we had one of our eligibles busted on the play and put 2 guys in the same spot. So he had to protect the ball and take a sack there. Another sack on the 3rd and 8 wasn't his fault. We kind of had a jailbreak on it, but the 2 ones after that, I thought he could have gotten rid of it a little before the sack. And a couple things, he just hesitated on a hair early in the game. But as it went, I think he made a huge 3rd down on the 3rd and 8. I think it was to Conley. Made a very decisive 1 and 2 minute that got us down there to Troy. And ended up doing some good things. I wish we would have converted that short yardage and kept him out there a little bit longer, but that's some of the frustrating things about preseason.
Did you see any more that touchdown pass that was a little bit scary for maybe a split second?
Oh, it was scary, a lot of it, but I totally saw what he saw. I mean, the middle third safety cut the low cross, and there's a guy going behind him. And, I mean, what I like is he didn't react, and he saw a hole and tried to rip it. And there was some guy coming from the backside that he didn't see, and but it wasn't a gun-shy throw. Those are things you learn from. I kind of like seeing him trying to make that play, regardless of the result. And obviously we got a little bit lucky. It ended up being a good result, and I wouldn't have been happy if it was a pick, but I can understand what he saw rolling out to the left. Usually when a middle third player cuts a route, there's someone's vacated in the middle third, and that corner was hesitant to get there, and so Trey didn't see him, and he let it rip, and those are things I want to see more of them. I mean, not picks and bad decisions, but just playing a little bit faster, a little bit more aggressive, and I think that was one that he did that on, but also the other ones that I mentioned it on that weren't just lucky, they ended up being good.
Was his hesitation maybe just because he hasn't had reps with, like, in a game situation for so long?
It could be. Yeah, I've had guys who've had reps in a lot of games that come out and are hesitant at times too. I mean, that's also the hard thing about preseason. You know, you don't get to play a whole game to work through those things. And there's a number of times last year that any quarterback we played with comes down there a little hesitant early. And I think he had a couple of those and a couple bad sacks, and our offense didn't get going, and kind of builds up. And I was glad that he was able to fight through that and make some plays there at the end. And I wish he could have stayed out longer, but we stuck with our plan and made sure not to panic and make any bad decisions for him.
It seemed like Isaiah Oliver was unique in being a starter who played in that game. Where does he stand, and why did he play on Sunday?
I mean, just because he isn't a guaranteed starter. I mean, he's been doing that spot a lot, but there's a lot of competition there, and we sat down our outside corners, but yeah, we weren't willing to. We didn't want to sit down any nickels, and needed some guys to play because there's a lot of things we're still deciding.
How do you think he played in the game?
Kind of like everybody. Some good, some bad. There's a couple things where he stood out that weren't always his fault. I mean, I think he needs a little bit more help on the goal line. The touchdown they gave up, with our corner playing with vision and understanding he's got to come off on that for our quarters type coverage there. But it was a good first game for him, and hopefully he'll keep getting better for us.
You guys good?
Hey, Kyle, what is George Odom dealing with?
No, it's a shoulder. Let me just see the technical version for you guys. I don't want Branch to get bothered. What is it? SC joint. SC joint. Left SC sprain. Yep. We're hoping he can get back in a blue jersey this week, so he can practice a little bit and stuff. But we just got to keep the contact off until week 1.
Okay, and you said the hope was to get those three guys, Burks, McLeod, and Odom, back in week 1. Is that possible for McLeod even?
No, I think Ray's would be the one that most likely won't work out that way. The other two, we got more hope than Ray. But as Ray keeps telling me, don't count him out.
Got it.
Taking a second look at the game.
Al, did you talk to Jake Moody last night after his 2 misses and just about what he went through going into the game?
No, I didn't talk to him. I don't try to get involved in that head game. I mean, I feel like he missed a 58-yarder, which that's, I think, the first time I've ever attempted a 58-yarder, so I'm not going to make too big a deal about that. What's been cool is how good he's been at those in practice. But he definitely missed a tough one in the game. The 40-yard one is one that he's been great in practice. He missed it, obviously, but I'm not going to go there and try to ask him a bunch of questions because usually they're just going to make something up because sometimes guys miss, and I think he'll be much better next time and kind of really like he's been every other day we've been with him.
Is the plan with them? Is the plan with the kickers like you've been doing in practice to have Zane go Saturday against the Broncos?
No, I mean, actually our plan was to let Zane go in that game. But after when Mooney missed the first one, we were going to let Zane go. I just didn't want to leave that bad taste in Moody's mouth. So I wanted to give him another shot. And the third one, we were going to go with Zane and let him start to go. Unfortunately, the next one that we got was a 58-yarder, and then we didn't have any moments like that. So we plan on getting both of them some work next time.
On that first third down, I think it was 3rd and 6, Trey goes to throw to Dwelly, and Dwelly's still getting into his route. Is that on him? It seemed like he was kind of drifting, and I asked that because after the play, Dwelly kind of tapped himself on the helmet, and then they had a little interaction after the play. My second question is, how do you feel like your back's stayed in pass protection? Because you guys do face quite a bit of pressure.
Yeah, Trey's got to make that throw still to move the chains. Dwelly to make it easy on him. It's an option route. It was zone. You should hook up decisively right there in the numbers, and that's what Trey was expecting, and that's what we want Dwelly to do. And Trey was aggressively ripping that. That was one play he wasn't hesitating on early. That was real good, and Dwelly just surprised him a little bit, which does happen at times, and then it threw Trey off. So Trey still should have made it. Dwelly could have made it a lot easier on him. And, yeah, I was disappointed in the pass protections. They're bringing it to the back and the man coverage with the hug-ups coming, and we got to do much better in that game than – we got to do much better going forward than we did in that game because we struggled in that area.